What's up guys, this is Wenzes. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about creating an epic life on your terms. Today we're talking about the 5 gut instincts we misinterpret in relationships. Because guess what? Gut instincts are supposed to keep us safe. And they're supposed to keep us safe in the short term, not in the long term. Those are things that are just natural to us. And nowadays, they're not really guiding us in the right directions all the time. We do the thing that's gonna keep us safe now, but we're not doing the thing that's gonna make our life better in the long term. But if you listen to your gut instincts and you just interpret them in a way that is beneficial for the long term, you'll have amazing results. So today I really want to narrow it down for you, so next time you feel this gut instinct come up in your relationship, you know exactly, oh, now I'm gonna do it differently than I've always done it before, because now I'm really optimizing my long-term benefits. Before we get started, if you want to know more about the concept of creating an epic life on your terms, then check out the webinar on this topic. And if you want to work with me privately and tackle the things that are going on in your life and in your relationship, then check out my link on 101 coaching. Both of them you find below in the description. Gut instinct number 1, walk on eggshells. See, this is the thing we've learned probably even when we were children. And this is the one thing we keep doing in our closest relationships. And it's this feeling of, oh, you're doing something that's gonna cause you pain in the short term. So if you have somebody who has a temper in your life, or you just have somebody who's really annoyed by you just living out your full potential, your truth, whatever you like to do. And you know, if you do this, if you really live out what you want in this moment, the other person is gonna go off. They're gonna get mad, they're gonna get sad, they're gonna react in a way that's not gonna make you feel good in the short term. That's the thing we mean when we talk about walking on eggshells. And so often this emotion is so beneficial to us. Remember, back in the day, this was a good thing because it protected us from being seen. And when we're not seen, we're safe. But nowadays, this just doesn't make sense. So why are we walking on eggshells? What is the worst thing that's gonna happen? Well, as I said, you gotta do something that's gonna hurt the other person or that's gonna make the other person angry, and therefore they're gonna abandon you, or you're gonna feel worthless because you're not being a good person. The list goes on and on. So every time you're in this position where something makes you feel like I have to walk on eggshells now, really think of the long-term consequences. What's gonna happen if you keep going this road? Nothing. Nothing different is gonna change than what you're living out right now. And that means that it's never gonna get better. You're keeping yourself in this small box, and you're keeping your relationship in this small box as well. Nobody of you can grow, neither you nor your partner nor your relationship altogether, if you keep walking on eggshells. So how are you gonna do this? Start small. I know how hard it is if you've been conditioned your entire life or your entire relationship to make sure not to hurt the other person or not to make them upset. So I can't just tell you here, oh, okay, so next time you just go all out and talk about everything you want to talk about and you address things that are bothering you. It's not going to happen because the gap is too big. But what can you do in order to actually put yourself out of your comfort zone in a way that doesn't overwhelm you? What can you say that goes into a great direction? So really pick those things out and don't go for everything. Choose one thing that is most important to you, that thing that really bothers you the most, and then start living it out. You can either start a conversation about it or you can just live it. Because oftentimes walking on eggshells is not only about not addressing certain things, it's just us showing up in our best self. That in itself is also something we deny ourselves so often, because we feel if I show up as my complete self, if I live out what is important to me, just by me doing that, I'm making the other person upset. So really push that boundary. Really do it in a gradual way where you know the other person might not burst out, but it's gonna make them uncomfortable. And you know what you're gonna see? You're gonna see that most of the time that person is gonna get upset, but then they're gonna adapt to you. So this is something you can apply in your intimate relationships, in family relationships, even in work relationship. It does not matter, because you have conditioned yourself that walking on eggshells is the only right way to go. That would be the fair thing. And the other person not having to making any compromises, that is also the status quo. But we're not gonna be okay with this. We gotta change something about this. So every time your gut instinct tells you walk on eggshells, take it as an indication that there's something you should push outside of yourself so you take up more space. You have the right to take up as much space as you need, and you're not taking anything away from the other person. Gut instinct number 2, dim your light. See, this one actually made sense back in the day as well, because back then it was important that you're part of the group. You're not supposed to outshine anybody, because once you do, you're the most visible one. And when you're the most visible one, you're gonna be the first one who's going to be attacked. So it's a natural thing that our body is telling us, that our gut instinct is guiding us in this direction. But again, it's keeping us small and it's just improving the short-term consequences of our behavior. It's not going for the long-term thing, because we all know there is no reason ever to dim your light. We're not in a situation where your life depends on you making yourself small and really making your light small, because every time you do that, you're doing a disservice not only to you, but to everybody else, your partner, your relationships in general, and just society. You're keeping the gift of you hidden, and this is never good for anybody. And of course, there's so many reasons why we're shying away from this. We don't want to outshine anybody, because that would mean that people would abandon us. They would not accept us in the group. And this is something that is really important for our survival. Social inclusion is a real thing, but you know better now. You know that you can handle this if you approach it in a rational way. Because what does your rational mind tell you? It tells you that this gut instinct you can use in a very particular way that will actually improve your life, because it means that you're not bringing your A game, because it means you're not living out your potential, you're not living out your truth. And every time you do that, you will have negative consequences in your life, because yes, on the short term, maybe the people around you will accept you, but that also keeps you in a position where you're tolerated and not appreciated, because that's what it is. What do you do if you feel like your biggest light is not right? You're gonna surround yourself with people who also believe that you dimming your life is the best way, because if you would shine out, if you would allow your light to shine the brightest way you can, the people around you are gonna get mad. They're gonna see that they're not living out their potential. They see that they're not living in abundance. They see that they're living in a codependent relationship or society or any kind of reality structure that keeps them comfortable where they're at. And if you really are there to shine the light on your gifts, it just makes it evident for them what they're missing out on. But that's the thing, you can't really outshine anybody. If you're shining the best way you can, you're gonna automatically surround yourself with people who appreciate who you are, who feel that your gift is of service. You stepping out and being the best light you can be, that is the biggest gift you can give to yourself, to your relationships, and to just society in general. So don't dim your light. Just take it as a point that tells you, oh, I need to do this in a way where it makes sense for me. Again, don't overwhelm yourself. Take it slow. Pick one thing where you feel like you're keeping yourself small, you're dimming your light in order not to make somebody mad or in order to stay protected within this group. You can do more, and if you know that you're dimming your light, this is a reality you can't deny anymore. It's time to actually step into your truth. Then it's time to interpret your gut instinct in a way that's beneficial for you in the long term. Gut instinct number 3, make it work. How often have we been in a situation where we felt like, if I'm not gonna do what is necessary, this whole thing is gonna fall apart? This is how society is actually teaching us, that we have to be the ones who really make it work. But that's not the case. We have to understand that this gut instinct was very beneficial in the day because it included more than ourselves. It meant that we are responsible for making our tribe really succeed in life, to make sure that we all are doing well, because we always wanted social inclusion, because this protects us. So in order to make sure that the entire tribe really works out, we have to be the ones who feel responsible for making it work. But the thing is this, a lot of people don't think this way. And the more you are a person who feels responsible for doing more than they're supposed to do, the more you attract people who feel the other way around. People who actually feel they're not able to really improve their own life. So they need people in their life who do it for them. See, it doesn't make the other person the bad guy in the scenario, because we're both making mistakes here. But we have to understand that this gut instinct that we have to make it work is really an indication that something is not going greatly in this dynamic. And it's not so much that you have to leave this relationship or say this is not going to work out. It's just you have to change the way you approach your relationship dynamic. It's simple as that. There's something about the dynamic that makes you feel that you have to take care of both of you. And this is really keeping you stuck, because the more you do that, the more you're not really using the strength that the other partner can actually bring to the relationship. And you're taking care of things that you shouldn't be taking care of because they're not your strong suit. That's what we have to understand here. But as long as you take care of certain things because you feel, if I'm not doing it, the other one is not going to pull their weight, nothing is is gonna change. See, in scenarios like this, it's always the person who does more who has to change their behavior. That's the only way it works. And you can like read a lot about it in psychology and all kinds of things that are concerned about like dynamics that are working in this direction. You have to be the one who makes the first step back, and to be okay with it, to understand that you're lovable, that you're valuable, and that you're not giving up on the relationship just because you take a step back. Because by you doing this, you're actually allowing the other person to wake up to their own gift, to wake up to what they can bring into the relationship. And yes, the relationship might look differently because you're not putting all your weight into it, but it's a good thing because this relationship is a partnership and you should both put equal amounts of energy into the relationship. And you know a lot of things are gonna change, starting with the dynamic. You will have a completely new relationship to the one you have right now. And you have to step into faith that the other person is gonna pull their weight. They're gonna do what is necessary. But in order to do that, you have to be ready for the consequences. And that means that if it really comes down to it and the other person is not putting in as much as you're putting in, that you have to be okay with taking a step back. If you're giving 70% and the other person is giving 30% into the relationship, you're not gonna make the other person give 50 by you doing more and expecting them to also do more. The only way you can actually achieve this is for you to say, I'm gonna give less into the relationship. I'm gonna focus more on me and less on making that work. I'm gonna make sure that I work. What can you do to make yourself more whole on your own? And you know what will happen? A lot of your attention will go away from the relationship, will go away from that person into yourself. And that person then has to make up that lack of energy that's going towards them. And how are they gonna do that? They're gonna do that while doing something for them and then giving even more into the relationship. But this can only happen if you say, I'm gonna take a step back. And if you take a step back and only give 50% in the relationship and the other person is not willing or capable of making that step, then that is a decision you're gonna be faced with. And that is a decision where I say, rather focus on making you work and then see if you can both work as a whole than putting into this relationship more than you're getting out of it. This will always keep you stuck, and there's a reason why this gut instinct is coming up. It's coming up because it needs to come up, because right now you're in a position where you feel this is not working, and the only way I could make it work is if I do more, because you cannot control what the other person is doing. If everything was great, you wouldn't have this gut instinct. You wouldn't feel like there's something I need to fix. But take it and interpret it in a way that's beneficial for both of you. So stop taking it as a sign that you should do more. Rather, do more for yourself, and you'll see how you create a completely new and improved relationship dynamic. Gut instinct number 4, my life is empty. So this is something a lot of us feel, specifically when we're in relationships, because it was so fun in games to actually get to the relationship. Maybe we thought, oh, there's going to be some drama involved in the beginning, or it's so difficult for me to find a partner. And then we feel like, oh, okay, now that I have the relationship of my dreams, everything's going to be great. That is my solution. And you know what happens? Your life still feels empty. So if you're really in a position where you feel like it's not gonna get any better than this because I already found my partner, I already have the things that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, and my life still feels empty, then this is not a sign that your life sucks. It just tells you that you're ready for the next step. You're ready to improve your life and make it bigger, because the relationship you're in, that is not going to be your solution. It doesn't mean that you have to give up the relationship or that that relationship isn't that passionate thing you always dreamed about, because your relationship is not meant to be the thing that fills up your life. This is a great addition. This is a great way of you to connect with each other, to be best friends, and to really support each other in your life's dreams. But if you feel empty, then it's not because there's something wrong with this relationship, but it's because you're not giving yourself the things that will make your life feel full, even if you wouldn't have that relationship. That relationship can only give you so much if you're really willing to compromise on a big scale. And this is not what life is all about. You're actually supposed to show up in the greatest way you can, because you're a gift to the world. The way you show up, that's a unique thing that nobody can put into this world but you. So start sharing that. Start being of service. Start self-actualizing yourself, and you'll see how you'll never feel empty in your relationship again, because you take this relationship for what it is. It's not the meaning of your life. It's not supposed to give you this feeling of I'm matter. That is the thing that you have to give for yourself, because your partner is never going to be able to. That's not their task in this relationship. They're supposed to support you in creating that life that gives you meaning, and vice versa. So really take that as an indication to do something outside of the relationship and really find your joy in that. And you'll see how your relationship will get so much more lighthearted. The relationship will become more of what it actually is supposed to be, which is a place to experience joy, to be comfortable, and to really be there for each other in your own pursuit of happiness. And then we get to gut instinct number 5, which is stay put. Something else is gonna happen that's gonna make your life better. So this is the thing that keeps us still. Also a gut instinct that was actually very beneficial back in the day, because it was important that we don't make a movement, that we stay put exactly where we're at, because then we don't attract negative things. We don't attract danger. But nowadays, those things don't really make sense. So it's about time we start interpreting our gut instincts in a different way. So if you feel like, oh, something is gonna happen outside of me if I just stay put, to understand nothing's gonna happen. There is no danger coming outside of there. If you're not changing anything, things are gonna continue just as they are. And if you feel like, oh, I don't really feel that I'm in control of making things better, I have to stay put, then it's a great indication that there's something going on within your body that doesn't allow you to actually step into your truth. So how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna step into our truth? What are we gonna do that's gonna change that? Well, we have to understand that nothing's gonna change if we wait until we feel like it. We actually have to do it while we don't feel like it. And we have to do it in a way where it's not overwhelming us. I repeat this because it's important. So many of us feel if I go all out, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna panic, it's gonna overwhelm me, and it's gonna be so hard that I put myself back in the shell. That's what a lot of people do. Because the thing they should do, which is to make small steps, that would actually tell yourself that you're not good enough. That would mean that you would have to admit to yourself that the only thing you're capable of is this small step. But this is where self-love comes into play. You have to understand that there's nothing wrong with you doing small steps. It's completely normal that you feel like you can either stay put or you have to do something so big that's gonna sabotage you and it's gonna make you feel like you have to go back. Because this is the safe place. But it's not about keeping safe anymore. It's about really expanding yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this feeling of, I want something great to happen, but the only way it can happen is if I stay put. That is where we make the mistake. We don't have to stay put, because guess what? You've stayed put for the last 10 years maybe, and has something changed? Has this great thing just shown up? No. You have to do something, and you have to do it while you feel like you have to stay put. That's an amazing indication, because if you, for example, want more passion in your relationship, you can't just wait for things to change. There is a reason why you feel you have to stay put, and that is that you don't believe that you deserve to actually step out of your dynamic. You're afraid of what's gonna happen, but that is exactly what you should do. That's a great indication of action that has to happen, and you have to be the one who asks for things, who demands things, who makes things a topic, because only that way you can really change something. Stop waiting for things to happen. So every time it comes up in your mind that you know, oh, okay, I just gotta wait for things to happen. That's my initial thought. That's my instinct telling me, know that it's natural that we feel like this. Our nature actually made this to protect us, but nowadays we have to interpret it in a way that is exactly where you have to take action. This is exactly where you shouldn't stay put if you want to change something. You want to feel differently and you're afraid of what's gonna happen if you rock the boat, well, still rock the boat, because then you have a chance of making things better, and they're gonna get turbulent before they actually create something that's even better than what you have right now, because this, what you're feeling right now, is not making you feel good. Otherwise, you wouldn't even have this thought of, oh, I would want things to change, but I should stay put. I really hope that helped you and you have some more ideas how to use your gut instincts in a positive way in your relationship. If you want to know more about the concept of creating an epic life on your terms, also in your relationships, then check out the webinar. And if you want to work with me privately and tackle the things that are going on in your life that you want to improve in, then also check out my link on one-on-one coaching. Both of them you find in the description. If you want to have some more insights on your gut instincts, then definitely watch my video on the 6 gut instincts you should never avoid. Like always, guys, I wish you a wonderful day, a great week, and I talk to you next time. Bye.